Alright, yo. So I googled how to download The Ruin of Kasch for free. On google.com, and I found this PDF of it by Roberto Colasso. So I read that shit. A lot of movement on Ganon's metapsychotic mountain, pull that shit up. Where are people falling? Where are people ranking? Some people, they're moving down from warrior, king, philosopher into straight the raped, just straight the raped, yardage down, QB rating way down. Some people, they were already in the rape. They're staying in the rape. They're not gonna move. We got Max Stirner. Colasso loves dunking on Max Stirner. Now, if you had already achieved any form of metacognition in the year 2011, 2012, you'd remember Max Stirner. You got some involvement with his thought in relation to Nietzsche in kind of a surprising way. It has been previously explored, but then also the coming forms of European thought. Now, this book is mostly about not the ruin of Kasch, but Talleyrand and the importance or lack thereof of sacrifice moving into the present era. We got, some people, they were on the up and up. They're on the up and up. They stay on the up and up. Put up pretty good numbers, pretty good power level here is Napoleon. Now, Napoleon is kind of approached in a similar manner to, if you ever read The History of Central Banking. You ever read that shit? Napoleon, this is what they said, Napoleon knew no sources of revenue other than taxation and conquest. Credit for him was an abstraction. He saw it in only the dreams of ideology and the empty ideas of the economists. Napoleon's one of those guys, we love to chud out about Napoleon. We love to chud out about the means and the ends and the memes in Napoleon, but we forget a lot about the other Plutarchian figures of the time, the little tidbits that they went in, they grabbed, they fondled, they diddled of historical apparitions, especially in the Americas. You look at Talleyrand, we look at Lafayette, we look at all the other movements, the little intricate pieces that we came in. And in this instance, we got to go over and we got to take it to the man, because Colasso, he speaks a lot about what is history, what is the purpose of history. We have an idea today in a quantitative sense of what is the real value of something, and it has to be grounded in a material aspect, a real tangible aspect, denying, like a man who has been deaf in the village of deaf people, that hearing was ever a possibility. We go into a Plutarchian sense, we go into a Herodotean sense. Let's take a look at what he said. He said, it is Burckhardt's Fränkische Kulturgeschichte that identifies this necromantic character in history. This is the course taken by the historiographers over the recent decades in their thirst for the most irrelevant details and their capacity to absorb shelf loads of papers about to disintegrate, imagining interrogations that had perhaps never before been read, not even by the person who had recorded them. Often, though, they were deceiving themselves as to their motives. Armies of researchers imagined that by digesting mountains of paper, they were getting close to the truth. Some even believed that by using numbers and tables, they were approximating science. And yet, the more they surrounded themselves by raw data, the clearer it became that every scrap of history is a silent enigma. Behind those names, those legal documents, those judicial proceedings, stretched the immense aphasia of life that closes in on itself, that has no contact with the before and with an after. History offers its own identifying marks to guarantee its own personal disappearance. The true historian, then, is one who crosses the eloquent desert of archives, and with an element of luck shaking the dust off the right file, he experiences one of those moments in which names begin to chime and resonate against silent background, building up a unique personal profile that a neighbor we have occasionally passed in the street happens to leave his door ajar, giving us a glimpse of his disastrous private life. The actual ruin of Kasch. I didn't make any notes on that shit. It's not really a major part of the book anyway. And I'm making this video for me. I didn't want to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk about it. You can read the book if you want. We do, however, later in the play get a massive Napoleon L, Napoleon sacked for a loss, Napoleon looking quite silly. And it's a comedy of errors only rivaled by faggots such as Jeeves and or Wooster in their plays. So essentially, to break it down play by play, Talleyrand receives Napoleon at an estate to which Napoleon is only too happy to hunt boars, which do not exist in this area. So he has dozens and dozens and dozens of little black pigs, not boars, brought in that Napoleon has all too much joy in hunting. At the end of the hunt, when he's finally revealed that he has caught the boar, he has killed the boar, goes, "Ah, we got your ass. We got it. There ain't no boars here. We don't have any boars here. You're silly. You're a silly guy. But we do got rabbits, though. So, you know, I'm sorry for playing the prank on you. I'm sorry for hitting you with that one. Let's go get some rabbits." There were no rabbits. There's no rabbits in here. He sends off servants, go kill more rabbits, bring them around, spreading all these little pet rabbits around. Got his ass again. Got his ass in a little, you know, a little penis trap. You got his foreskin twisted. You got like the little breadcrumb wrapper twisted up. You can't pee. If you try to pee, you got a full foreskin of piss. And that's kind of how Napoleon felt at the end of that sequence. So on that account, we also got to bring Napoleon, drag him down slightly on the Guénon metempsychotic mountain. Of course, it being Guénon's metempsychotic mountain, we got to crib off Guénon. We got to lick the salt lick. We got to suck the juice a little bit, as Colasso does, saying here, what does a solely quantitative difference between things presuppose? The identity of their qualities. Hence, quantitative measure of labor presupposes the equivalence, the identity of their quality. Guénon noted the regrettable coincidence by which spiritualism began to spread like an epidemic in the United States in 1848, a necessary counterbalance to the European barricades, which were in turn a quiet signal that a new character, chaos, was emerging on stage at the court of history. If we go a little further down this line of reasoning, Colasso brings up some insane Dr. Evil level shit, in that he claims that Celine invented the saying blah blah blah. How the fuck would you know that? That's a pretty simple syllable. That's a pretty easy mouth noise to make. How are you gonna claim Celine coined blah blah blah? I'm not even gonna look into it. I don't care. We go a little bit further on, we take a few more steps down this road. Colasso says, in 1908, during 12 weeks of visionary experience, the first post-historical society appeared to Alfred Kubin. Its name was Pearl. We got another quote. This one doesn't really relate to much of anything. Bro said, "For these people, hopelessly extraneous to all academic solace, action was the only fata morgana, capable of channeling their immense latent violence in one direction, without it being lost in the whirling abjection of personal life." What is this in relation to? I'm not going to tell you.
Stewie, can I see you in my office for a second?
Oh, yeah, what's up, Eric? Everything okay?
Yeah, just come into my office. Stewie, Shawanda said she saw you sneaking food.
What?